Both of them lie parallel on the soft brown carpet. Tina closed her eyes and fell asleep, or passed out. Tears fell out of Frankie's. 2 entire weeks went by. Tina hadn't spoken to Frank, but he called. But she remembered everything that night. It was awkward. She needed to ask Frank what was going on with him. Did her best friend in the whole world have AIDS? They used the bong together. They drank from the same bottle. She would have to call. She got his answering machine. "Hi, Frank. Call me, okay? I hadn't been feeling too good, and I have some things." The phone picks up. "Hello?" It was Frank. They spoke over the phone, and Tina needed to know why was Frank deliberately trying to get AIDS. He made light of it. He said he didn't believe anyone there had it. It was more like a what-if factor. She asked him, why did he say he had it? He didn't answer. She told him that her husband is gone every weekend. That was his new thing. Monday through Friday he worked, came home, but the weekends was his. Her husband had told her to find a job. She had no babysitters. She began to cry. Uncle Frankie said he slept all day, partied all night, but he could watch the children. But in the end, they would be watching him. He chuckled. She didn't. Frank, he needed support. His results had been in for about a few days now. Results for what? Tina said. He got tested for HIV. He had to come in. He dialed the number. He gave the anonymous name, but they told him to come in. Tina, she drove with him for support. As Frank drove, she played with the radio station, like she always did. She stopped at the oldies but goodies station, and Relax by Frankie Goes to Hollywood came on. Tina started to sing. Don't do it. Oh, sorry, she said, and then she cut the radio off. But those of you that might be a little too young might not really know what this meant. He waited a whole 2.5 weeks. He was nervous. He was afraid. He chain smoked back to back. His hands were shaky, voice quivery. He had barely slept. He was thirsty. He was hungry. He was everything. But he was relieved. He was negative. It was stupid. I mean, I will never endanger myself like that again. He spoke about 3 new sugar daddies he had met. He laughed of how the clinic gave him 100 condoms. He said that was a 2-week supply. They laughed when he said one of his sugar daddies looked like Alex. May of 1996 had entered after a harsh, frigid, and cold winter. The weather was beautiful in New Jersey. The birds were singing, people were jogging in the parks, roller skating, pushing their babies in strollers. Tina and Frank, both separately, weren't doing too well. They hadn't seen each other, but they would call each other periodically and keep in touch and act like their lives weren't going to hell. Tina was given to the end of the year to have a job. Alex would call her and say he would help her get a place with the children, and he would pay for the childcare and whatever she needed. And he told her he was filing for separation. He even told her how much he would help her with. He had done this before, but Tina was sitting next to him years ago in the same shop in the back room with the pull-out couch in it when he called his wife and told her he wanted out of the marriage. All Tina could do was drink and cry. It didn't help. It made it harder to take care of the children. Alex was making her life so hard, and she still loved him, but she didn't know what to do to make it right. Monday, she was going on a diet. She was going to look like all those women in the magazines. She wasn't going to lose her husband. He was just making things hard, but she was going to fight for her marriage. Frank hadn't chased the bug in months. The doctors advised him, since he was living a homosexual lifestyle, he needed to get tested for the next 6 months. On the second month, he was positive. He remembered the doctor trying to console him. He remembered he put his hand on his shoulder, but it looked so mechanical, like the doctor had did that many times that month. He got a whole new bunch of pamphlets and condoms and numbers to support groups. He hadn't told anyone, not even his new boyfriend. Shannon was staying with him and paying the bills in their little studio, but things were finally getting better for Frank, and then this. He would look in the mirror. Was he changing? Would people know? Could they tell? He didn't want to die. His life was shit, but he didn't want to die. Maybe if he looked in the mirror every day and made sure nothing changed, nothing would change. He vowed to even quit smoking. Smoking was bad, so he quit, just like that. Maybe he'd get up every day and jog. Well, maybe 3 times a week and jog. This secret was too big. He would tell Tina if something happened to him, she needed to know why. He would maybe even tell his mother. Yep, the woman who threw him out years ago. They had spoke on the phone several times. They even watched Ghost together over the phone. They hadn't seen each other in years, and they only lived 30 minutes apart. She wanted to know if he had someone special in his life. She really needed to know this. Frank told him that his name was Shannon. His mother kept asserting Shannon's name with a female, but he kept correcting her, and when Frank spoke of Shannon, he used male pronouns. They would never talk about what she saw. She never spoke about the stepfather either. Frank wondered if they were even still together, but he dared to not ask. He spoke to his little brother briefly, who was now 13. He hadn't seen his brother since he was almost 3. He had seen his stepfather. His stepfather would come to the grandmother's house during her bingo nights and give Frank gas money and cigarettes, a little marijuana. But when he refused to service him anymore, he stopped coming. His boyfriend, Shannon, was a third shift fry cook and would be gone during the night. That's how they met. Frank was drunk and came in one Saturday night and ordered $27 worth of food and only had $3 in his pocket. His lucky initial F money clip was stolen, but knowing Frank now, he probably lost it. A little after midnight, he decided to call Tina. She picked up. "I quit smoking," he said. She laughed. "I didn't quit drinking," they laughed. "Tina," he swallowed hard, the lump in his throat. while the tears instantly fell down his cheeks. He didn't want to start crying, but he had to tell her. I tested again. It was positive. He heard her faint, "Oh no," come from Tina's voice. "Are you okay?" she said, obviously crying. He must have listened to her cry for about 5 minutes before they spoke. He was crying himself. He said, "I do take medicine. I get sick. It gets me sick. I feel like I want to throw up. I'm nauseous when I take the medicine. My stomach always hurts only when I take the medicine. But when I don't, I feel good. But I gotta take the medicine." "No, I haven't told Shannon yet, but I hadn't had sex with him since I found out." "Yes." Frank sat on the bed and watched as Shannon got ready for work. "You are the first one I told." Shannon was a little upset that they hadn't been together in a while, but he had to tell him now. He looked at Shannon while he was edging up his facial hair in the mirror. He was going to tell him something. "Shannon, remember before when we met, I told you a friend of mine used to chase the bug?" He nodded his head, still shaving. He took a deep breath.